I moved into this apartment complex about 2 months ago. Nothing special. 2-bedroom place, decent price, mostly quiet. The kind of spot people pass through on their way to something better. I kept to myself mostly, but one neighbor always made an effort to be friendly. Her name was Lana. Mid-30s, artsy vibe, always wearing black clothes and heavy eyeliner even in the middle of the day. We'd pass each other in the hall or the mailroom, say hi, sometimes small talk. One Friday afternoon, she knocked on my door holding this little pink pet carrier. "Hey," she said. "Total favor. Could you feed my cat while I'm gone? I'll only be gone for the weekend, just once each night. I'll owe you big." I hesitated, but I didn't have any real reason to say no. "Yeah, sure," I told her. "Not a problem." She handed me a spare key and gave me 2 instructions. 1. 1 scoop of dry food in the metal bowl. 2. Do not feed her after midnight. I kind of chuckled at that. "Like gremlins?" I asked. She didn't laugh. She just looked me dead in the eye and said, "I'm serious. No matter what she does, no matter how much she cries, not after midnight." That should have been my red flag right there, but I just nodded, took the key, and said goodnight. The first night, Saturday, I went over around 10:30 p.m. The apartment was dimly lit, smelled faintly like incense and something sour. Her cat, a sleek gray thing named Naira, came right up to me. Super affectionate, rubbing on my leg, meowing like crazy. I gave her the food, locked up, and went back to my place. Easy. Sunday night is when it got weird. I lost track of time playing Warzone and didn't head over until almost 11:50. As I walked in, Naira was already by the door. But this time she looked off. Her pupils were huge, fully dilated. She wasn't purring, just making these low, scratchy whines, almost like a kid trying to cry through a sore throat. I dumped the food into her bowl. She didn't move toward it. Instead, she sat on the kitchen tile staring at me. The second the clock on the microwave hit 12:01, she let out this awful screech. Not a meow, a scream. High-pitched, sharp, unnatural. I backed toward the door. "Hey, it's past midnight, no food now, all right?" I said, half joking, trying to lighten the mood even though my skin was crawling. That's when she lunged, not at me, at the cabinet under the sink. She started clawing and scratching at it like something was inside. I froze for a second, then carefully approached and opened it. Empty. Just cleaning stuff in trash bags. I turned around. Naira was gone, like gone. No sound, no movement, just vanished. I called her name softly, checked every room, even under the bed, nothing. But when I stepped into Lana's bedroom, I swear to God. The closet door was wide open, and inside it was pitch black, like unnaturally dark. The hallway lights didn't seem to touch it, and then I heard a whisper, a woman's voice, but not Lana's. It said, "She's hungry." I bolted. I slammed the front door, locked it, and didn't look back. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning I considered texting Lana, but I didn't want to sound insane. What would I even say? By afternoon, I worked up the nerve to go check on the place. I opened the door slowly, expecting the worst. Naira was sitting in the living room, completely normal, grooming herself. No signs of aggression, no screams, but the food bowl was empty. Licked completely clean, and sitting right next to it was a second bowl, a cracked ceramic one, bone white, with something red smeared across the rim. I left it alone, locked up, didn't say a word. Lana came back Monday night, knocked on my door to thank me, said everything looked great. Naira seemed happy, she told me, smiling like nothing happened. "You didn't feed her too late, did you?" I just shook my head. "Nope. Stuck to the rules." She nodded slowly. "Good," she said. "Some people don't listen, and Naira doesn't handle that well. I don't talk to her anymore. I don't even look at her when we pass in the hallway." And every night I make damn sure nothing is in my apartment that eats after midnight. About a year ago, I went on a solo camping trip in the Catskill Mountains in New York. I'd been dealing with a lot mentally and just needed to get away from everything. No phone, no people, no noise. Just me, a tent, and the trees. I hiked about 5 miles off the main trail and set up camp by a small creek. It was perfect, secluded, peaceful, and completely silent except for nature. I spent the day collecting firewood and reading, and when the sun went down, I made a small fire and cooked some canned chili. By 10 p.m., I was in my tent, ready to sleep. Around 2 in the morning, I was woken up by a sound, this soft ping like a phone notification. At first, I thought I imagined it. My phone was off and in my backpack, and I was way too deep in the woods for a signal. But then I heard it again. Ping. It sounded close, like right outside the tent. I unzipped the flap and peeked out with my flashlight. There was nothing. Just trees and the faint sound of the creek. I was creeped out, but figured it was maybe some random animal or a falling branch making a weird noise. I zipped the tent back up and tried to sleep. The next morning, I found something that made my stomach twist. About 15 feet from my tent, lying right in the dirt, was a smartphone, just sitting there. It was an old Android, screen cracked, a chunk missing from one corner. I picked it up carefully and hit the power button. It turned on. No passcode. The lock screen background was a black and white photo of what looked like the woods at night. I swiped up and saw that there were only 2 apps installed, the camera and the gallery. No contacts, no messages, no service, no data at all, except for the photos. I opened the gallery. There were 19 pictures. The first few were blurry shots of trees, totally unremarkable. But then they got weird. Photo 8, a shot of someone standing in the woods at night, maybe 20 feet from the camera. The flash caught just enough of the figure to make out the arms and legs, but the face was completely blacked out, like it had been smeared or erased. Photo 9, the same figure, now closer. Still no face. Photo 10, pitch black except for a hand. White, long fingers pressed right up against the camera lens. The last 4 pictures were what really got me. Photo 16 was of a tent. My tent. From maybe 30 feet away. Photo 17 closer to the tent. Photo 18 right up against the zipper. Photo 19 from inside the tent. A blurry, shadowy shape standing over what looked like me, asleep in my sleeping bag. I dropped the phone. Every hair on my body stood up. I grabbed my gear and tore down camp in 10 minutes. I didn't even eat breakfast. I just ran 5 miles nonstop back to my car. Before I left, I went back to where I found the phone and buried it under a pile of rocks. I don't know why. I just didn't want it with me. That night back home, I turned my phone back on. I had one new message. No number, just a blank sender. It said, "You left something behind." I threw my phone across the room. I changed numbers the next day and bought a new device. Nothing's happened since, but I swear sometimes I still hear that ping sound. Usually late at night, always from outside my window. Three years ago, my best friend Dan and I went camping in Lost Pine Forest in Northern California. It's not a popular park, which is exactly why we chose it. No tourists, no kids, just 2 dudes in the woods. We planned a 2-day hike to a remote area that barely anyone visits. It's not even on most maps. Dan had found it through a survival forum online. The first day went great. We hiked deep into the forest, made camp by a small stream, and cooked some hot dogs over the fire. The place was dead silent, no planes overhead, no cars, not even birds after dusk, just trees and darkness. It was peaceful, but it also felt too quiet. That night I woke up needing to pee. It was around 2 a.m. I stepped out of the tent and went just a few feet into the trees. As I was finishing up, I heard something, a voice, faint, distant. "Hey." It sounded like Dan, but not exactly. It came from deeper in the woods. "Dan," I whispered. "That you?" No answer. I waited. The forest was silent again. I told myself it was the wind and went back into the tent. Dan was still asleep, snoring. The next day I didn't mention it. We packed up and hiked further into the forest. Around noon we found a clearing with weird stone formations, small stacks of rocks, almost like crude markers. Dan was fascinated, said it looked like something out of a folklore book. I just felt uneasy. That night the weirdness ramped up. I woke up again around 2:30 a.m. This time I didn't have to pee, I was just awake, no sound, no movement. Until I heard the voice again. "Come here." Same direction, same soft tone, and it still sounded almost like Dan, but wrong. Like someone who'd only heard him speak once, trying to copy him. I unzipped the tent and saw Dan still asleep. The voice came again. "Please." It was closer. I grabbed my flashlight and scanned the woods, but saw nothing. No eyes, no movement, just trees. I backed into the tent and zipped it up fast. I lay there, not sleeping until morning. When the sun rose, I finally told Dan what I'd heard. To my surprise, his face went pale. He heard it too. The night before. But he thought it was me trying to mess with him. We decided to head back that day. Neither of us wanted to spend another night out there. But that forest didn't want us to leave. The trail we took in was gone. We walked for hours and couldn't find the path. Landmarks we'd seen the day before, boulders, trees with carvings, were missing. It was like the forest had changed. By late afternoon, we were completely lost. That's when we started hearing the voices again. Not just one this time, multiple, all mimicking people we knew, our moms, a teacher. Each voice soft, distant, calling our names. We didn't answer. We just kept moving. As the sun went down, we stumbled into a small area with a dead tree in the center. It had dozens of scratch marks on the trunk. Some looked like symbols, others like words in a language I didn't recognize. That's when Dan screamed. I turned and saw someone standing behind a tree across the clearing. Except it wasn't someone, it was me. Same clothes, same backpack, same haircut. It smiled at us, but the smile was too wide, the teeth too long. We ran. I don't know how long we ran, maybe an hour. Eventually, we found the stream from our first campsite. We followed it, not stopping until we saw the trailhead in our car. We didn't say a word on the drive back. We still don't talk about it much, but sometimes when I'm alone in the woods or even just near trees, I swear I hear that voice again. Software whispering. "Come here." And I know, if I ever follow it, I won't come back.